episode 7, that's not 7, episode 7 of the Shadowhunters TV show. I need to be kind of cheesy, but I was really impressed by it to the point where I think it's got up to my second place ranking. Episode 4 is still my favorite. It still owns the card, though episode 7, it was still pretty good. Not much of this was from the books, but from what they put in, it was brilliant. And, okay, so we start off, and only part I had a problem with, there was like 2 parts I had a problem with. We start off, and Clary's like, I know how to get the cup. It's in these stupid cards or whatever. And I'm like, how do you know this? She just knows she can reach in and out of papers that fast. I'm like, well, you have really good abilities then. And then they're like, oh, you can't get the cards. Dodge has them. And then Luke walks in. He's like, no, I have them in my desk. And it's like, oh, it's gonna be easy. Yeah, it wouldn't be an hour-long episode then. I could see how this fit, though. Annoyingly so. Just annoyingly fits. Luke goes in and gets the cards, and he's taken into the interview room, putting under lockdown or whatever it was called, for some investigation, because of his car being crashed near a crime scene, aka Jace in the last episode. I caught that while it tied in. I was like, damn it, it fits. Jace and Clary over there glamoring themselves up, sneaking in the building, and they have to go get these stupid cards. And they're like, we can't use glamour, because some people are downloaders, and they could see us or whatever. And it's just like, so they go in the building, and then they leave again. It starts off with Isabel packing up her sweaty clothing, her growing up, and Alec isn't there, and then when he gets there, he's like, oh, staying with Magnus, and then Isabel was like, oh, were you sleeping at Magnus? He's like, we didn't do much sleeping, and Alec said nothing. I'm perfectly fine about my ship, it's great. Magnus was in the beginning, and when he's talking about Clary, he says some reference about Beyonce on a dinosaur in Central Park. But there was this one scene where Magnus was on the couch, and Clary walks in, and she's like, I know how to get the cup, and I don't know how he did it. He like flung his legs over and stood up, but it was 150% Magnus-like. Haley, you have nailed Magnus. Made it as the characters Clary did in this episode, and Jace too. They're practically there. They're working on it. And then Alec and Isabel end up coming for backup, and there's a scene where Alec plays decoy for bats for them to get in, and he spills the lady's water. He's like, hey, you come here often? And she's like, I'll work here. I don't know, but it was so good, and it was so Alec-like, because he was so awkward. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I just need, and it was like, I don't know, it was so good. And then Isabel goes and cuts off the power, and they're sneaking back in there, and they get the cards, and can't get the cup out of the card. So I'm like, of course you can't. And then as they're leaving, they're getting tracked by demons, and there's the one part, Clary runs into an old lady, and the old lady is the demon. Of course it is, yeah, okay. And then Jace just stabs her, and they look around, and I thought they were werewolves. I'm pretty sure there were. I was kind of confused on that. So I'm like, those are werewolves because of the eyes. And the werewolves never proceeded. So, I mean, Luke stepped in at one point with the demon, so I assume his pack went with him. That was confusing to me. Who's werewolves? What pack is this? I'm so confused. This is one part, too. Clary goes up and plays decoy before they found out where the cards were. And this isn't like the book, but it was still really good. She goes up there, and then she just turns around and starts screaming at Jace. And there's this part earlier, and then she was like, oh yeah, I'm 90% sure this is gonna work. And she's like, sorry for the 10%. And then we're all just like, what? And your book fans, you got it. Yeah, you got it. And she's going up there, and in front of Luke's captain, she's screaming at Jake, you son of a bitch, and she slaps him. The slap was a little overdone, but it worked, because Clary's supposed to be this weak, pathetic teenage girl, and you have Jace there, and Jace looks like this bad boy. Kept playing with the glam balloons on and off. The captain of Luke's squad got murdered. Okay. I'm noticing changes from Dodds and now the captain. A lot of the new characters they introduced to help boost up the story are dying. I'm thinking, if they're going to stay true to the books and kill off excess characters, that works perfectly fine for me. I have no problem with you enhancing a storyline. Okay, this is part where Clary's like trying to get into this building, and she's like, "What's the opening rune again?" And Jace just kicks the door open. He's like, "Open sesame!" And there's two you pay tribute to our book lines, our famous book lines, and I can't ask more of that. I loved it. Then there's this one part where Alec is decoy, and then him and Jace have some moment, and then Jace and Isabel keep going with Clary, and they're like, "You can just run back to the institute, it's a couple blocks away," and she gets backed into this corner. And there's these demon hellhounds, I don't know what the hell their technical name is, backing up her into the corner, and she pulls out the mortal cup of the cards. She has no weapons that we see. She doesn't pull out her sloth blade, and she had one later on we figured out. She just pulls out a cup, and "Stay back," she's yelling, and I'm like, and it worked! And then 0.5 seconds later, you just see her walking out of the hallway, and I'm like, the demons just, are they dogs? Did they just sit down? Are they, what? Why would they behave to the mortal cup? They're demons. Then she gets there, and we have Jace, and he's like, "I need the cup." And obviously, I mean, you can tell he's a shapeshifter, because Jace is acting cruel and hatred like towards her and very controlling. Jace just came through. He was arrogant in this episode. Yes, this is our Jace. We'll just keep this going. We like this. Simon is losing his mind throughout this episode. He's on the phone, Clary's not picking up. If she is, Jace is taking her phone away. He has this moment with his mom and his sister, and we don't meet Simon's family until later, which I really liked. And there's this part where his sister and his mom are arguing, and he takes his hands and he slams it on his desk, and his whole entire desk breaks in half. aka the Empire's strength. And then there's later on where he's looking in the mirror and he sees fangs and he's losing his mind. And the ending of this episode. Clary walks in with, and Jason's like, "This whole institute's on high alert. I don't care what happens. I only care about Clary." And then Clary's like, "Hey, I'm here." And then she's like, "I have the cup." And she doesn't even pull the cup out. Like, I'm pretty sure every single Shadowhunter in that building wants to see the cup. And then Jason's like, "Oh, it was never about the cup. It was about your protection." And then she just starts talking about how she killed the shapeshifter because she's like, "Oh, if you pay attention close enough." I'm like, "Oh, I'm cheesy. I'm not a big Clay sipper. Just gonna throw this out there. Book-wise, TV show-wise, any-wise. Clay's was great in the beginning, and then I just kind of got bored with it. So I'm sorry if I offend you Clay sippers. Malik is my territory. It's mine. I love it. And then there's this one part where Isabel is talking to Alec, and she's like, "Oh, you know, we're asking Magnus out later. He doesn't deny it, though. Ain't doing no denying on my ship." No, but then Clace has their dramatic kiss scene with some dramatic music, and I'm like, okay, I get it. It's very steamy. I'll give them that. It was very steamy. Kind of awkward the way she pulled him into the kiss, because she was talking and then he responded and she just started kissing him. Kind of uncomfortable, awkward, but I mean, it was still a very steamy kiss for their first one. And not to mention, they're doing this in front of everybody, and you see Alec walk away. Baby, don't go to Magnus, go back, just go to him. And it ends, and I'm like, okay, we've had our Clay scene, we've had the missing. It was pretty good. I was impressed. Simon is losing his mind, and he goes to the Hotel de Mort. This didn't happen in our book character. Simon was attacked then. and he's losing his mind. And there's even this one part where Simon was crying on the phone to Clary, and I was moved by it. Alberto playing Simon, I was moved tremendously because I realized Simon is losing everything. He's going insane and nobody's picking up the phone and nobody's there for him, and it's not like he can tell his mom or sister, hey, yo, I think I'm a vampire. And he goes to the Hotel de Mort, and then you see Camille. And I knew the second I saw her. And she starts talking to him, and she's like, oh yeah, it's just my blood, you'll be fine, you're still a normal human. He's like, oh yay, I'm a human. And I knew, at first I was like, maybe they're gonna leave it that way because Simon wasn't a vampire until book 2. And nope. Then you just see fangs from Camille and she's going for it. So we've jumped ahead on the bandwagon for the Simon, but I can see why, because he has to have a play in this. And watching the episode preview for next time with there's Malik in the next episode, guys, I'm losing my mind. And you also see Simon being risen. So we're gonna get to see Vamp Simon, which I'm really excited about. I know it's early, but it fits. This is a little controversy that Cassandra Clare mentioned yesterday about how fans are being divided. And I wanted to address this. This has nothing to do with my TV show review. And if you want to stop now, like I said, the TV show it's one of my favorites now. I really liked it. Gave it a 95%. That's my review. I loved it. So if you want to stop here, you can. But I want to say that I love the books tremendously. Every single one of Cassandra Clare's books. I read Steve Bones almost 5 years ago. Speaking of, all of the information I got wrong in last week's episode, I'm sorry. I read the first book 5 years ago. It's been a while. But I did read it 5 years ago, and I remember being attached to characters like Alec and Tessa, and how they evolved as characters, helped me evolve as I was growing up, and they still are helping me today. You have their story, and that gives you empowerment, and we should love our characters, whether it's from the book or the TV show, but I'm really tired of seeing the TV show pass to hell. Our characters, I know, mean so much to us, and I understand where you're coming from, where you want to play certain details perfectly, and this is only the beginning. I want to see where our characters are going to move this. Like I said, I'm feeling Jace from Dom. I'm feeling Clary from Kat. All the other ones have nailed it. I'm really liking this. I want to see where it's going, and that's... Anyway, I really like this week's episode. Yeah, and I'm Annalyse. Thank you for watching. Bye!